The Aquasolum Shrimp Tank project continues, and today it's all about the shrimp. Hi everybody, John here with another Fincast. We're on part 3 now of this planted shrimp tank project built around Seachem's new product called Aquasolum. Aquasolum is a clay-based substrate that you put in your tank. It's perfect for planted tanks and creates water conditions that are very soft and acidic, which are perfect for keeping freshwater shrimp. So this is a 55-gallon planted shrimp project, and we're starting from the ground up. In part 1, I showed you all about Aquasolum, what it is, what it feels like, talked about it being a clay-based substrate for plants and shrimp, and showed you how to aquascape with it and the basic structure that went around it and how much you needed in your aquarium and so forth and so on. Then very quickly in part 2, very extensive Fincast about the plants, why I chose the plants that I chose, both in terms of the aquascape and how they fit very well with a shrimp aquarium. Showed you the aquascaping and what my plan was for the aquascaping and how that's worked out. And today, of course, before I start showing you some of the shrimp that I have in the tank, I want to talk a little bit about how everything has gone. It's been about 2 weeks plus now since I planted the tank and did the aquascaping, and I got to tell you, I'm very impressed. I have not added any fertilizers. I've done one small 15% water change, and some of these plants are literally jumping out of the ground, and the rest of them just look really happy and lush, and I'm getting good growth, and the water parameters are where they're supposed to be. I'll tell you more about how you can find those in my blog coming up in just a little bit. But 2 weeks out, this project is going great. As for the shrimp that I have in the aquarium so far, what I'm using is something called a Pinocchio shrimp. And I basically didn't look to start out with Pinocchio shrimp, but when I ordered my plants from my wholesaler, I decided, yeah, if I don't have some shrimp to put in this tank, I'm going to be going nuts because I'll have nothing to take pictures of. I won't know how they're reacting, yada, yada, yada. The only thing they had in stock was these Pinocchio shrimp, which honestly I had never heard of before. So I got a dozen of the Pinocchio shrimp in, and that's what you're looking at right now. And actually, I got to tell you that these are really interesting little critters. I had no idea how engaging that shrimp could be, especially when you think about I have big tanks, I have discus, I have geophagus, I've got a full reef, and it's kind of hard for me to think that I was going to really enjoy these shrimp, but I have. In fact, let me tell you about a shrimp tank in general, because I think your mindset, your approach, what you should expect from the aquarium is very different than what you would expect from a normal aquarium that you can sit back and enjoy maybe from across the room. That is definitely not the case with a shrimp tank. This is the aquarium that you put a chair in front of and you get right up close and you start peering into the aquarium. And then it's when it's kind of cool. You start noticing first you don't see anything. You might not see, especially these shrimp are clear, you might not see them for 2 to 3 minutes, and all of a sudden you say, oh, there's one, there's one, there's one. Wow, there's only 12 in the tank and I can see, say, 7 or 8 of them right now, which with all the plants and all the hiding places, that's pretty cool. So it draws you in and you find yourself sitting there looking at these guys, leaning up with your eyes against the aquarium, and I have found it to be very serene, almost hypnotic, and I've really enjoyed it so far. Here's a little bit more about the Pinocchio shrimp. They're called that because of their long nose, or what's called a rostrum on a shrimp. These are from India and Southeast Asia. They're also known as the red-nosed shrimp, the Rudolph shrimp, mosquito, or rhino shrimp. And in the wild, as near as I've been able to figure out, and there's a lot of commentary out there, but as near as I've been able to figure out, they live in the mangroves. They reproduce in brackish water, and so it's not likely to happen in your aquarium. As we move forward with this year-long shrimp tank project, we'll talk more about how important it is to have shrimp reproducing or not reproducing, but it's not likely with the Pinocchio shrimp in your aquarium unless you really want to get down into the quote-unquote weeds and try to reproduce them. But with normal daily husbandry, it's probably not going to happen on its own. These are small. Full size is less than 1.5 inches. The males are slightly larger than the females. The males will have more red in their tails, and the females will tend to be clearer. And again, these shrimp do well in a planted tank with rocks and driftwood. As I said, they're fun to watch. A lot of times they'll actually release and they'll just drift in the current. And again, it's just sort of an unusual behavior, an unusual activity, and it's very captivating. The water conditions, look for temperatures to be in the mid to high 70s. Again, they like soft water with a KH of 2 to 5, a pH of 7 to 8. These are described almost all over the internet as being of moderate difficulty. They cannot tolerate any ammonia or any nitrite, and very low nitrates. And I'll tell you more about this aquarium. It's running about 15 to 20% or part per million on the nitrates, and that's okay. That should be okay with these shrimp, but you don't want it to be getting higher, and you'll need to be doing water changes to stay in front of it. Now, I will say that this is supposed to be a clear shrimp, and when they start getting that milky color in their body, as some of mine have, that's not good. They're either not feeling well, or they're certainly not happy. And some of mine, as near as I can tell, arrived in the bag that way. But these water conditions should be almost perfect for these shrimp. And so if they can turn the corner in this aquarium, I would hope that they do so. I ordered initially about a dozen, and I lost one right out of the bag, and then I probably have lost 3 that I can count. So they're doing pretty well. I feel a little guilty showing them, some of them looking as milky as they do, and I wish they looked better. But some of them are actually very happy, and all of them appear to be eating and moving around the aquarium and acting what would otherwise be considered normal. These are filter feeders. They'll feed right out of the micronutrients in the water, but also they will feed on flakes and algae and just about anything in the tank. So there's an initial look at the Aquasolum, the aquascaping, the plants, and now these Pinocchio shrimp. And I got to tell you, I'm very impressed. This is a project that I want to follow through for some months, if not at least a year, and create a full-blown shrimp tank. At some point, man, it's just killing me because these water conditions are perfect to put a school of cardinal tetras or some other small schooling fish in there. But I'm going to resist that as long as I can. And of course, right now, I'm really trying to keep my nitrates under control so the shrimp are happy. So we're going to manage this tank for shrimp first, plant second, and fish maybe third. And I will tell you that as I record this right now, I have on order about 200 other shrimp of the crystal and cherry shrimp variety, and also some Amano shrimp, the cleaner shrimp that you might be familiar with. So the next time you see me on Fincasters, I'll be talking about a lot of different varieties of shrimp and more on keeping shrimp up. By the way, I've started a blog on this project at Fincasters.com. Just click on the blog. It's very easy to find. And what you'll find in the blog is a lot more detail on some of the water parameters, some of the observations. CChem has been working with me on this project, and I've been able to email them and get good responses right back on some of the things that I'm finding. So you'll see the answers from CChem staff there as well. So this is, I think this should be a really good resource going forward for people who are interested in keeping shrimp in the aquarium hobby. So one of the questions that I'm still trying to answer that I'll be able to tell you soon is how many shrimp can you keep in a 55-gallon aquarium? How many can you keep in a 10-gallon aquarium or a 5-gallon aquarium or that nano tank on your desk? So that's one of the things to look for at Fincasters.com, and I'll put that in the blog as soon as I have what I feel are good answers. In the meantime, please put your comments down below. Let me know what you think about this shrimp project. Let me know if you think that maybe a big tank like this can work with shrimp. What do you think of the idea of a tank with very small occupants that you can't watch from across the room, as opposed to something that's full of big fish where you can sit on the couch and watch them? Really curious what you think about that. And then any other comments or questions you might have about the shrimp, please let me know, and I'll answer them in the Q&A down below, or maybe even on the blog. So please get engaged, and always give me a thumbs up. That makes me feel good to know that all this hard work is paying off and that somebody out there is watching. And certainly, if you would subscribe, that is much appreciated. So thanks for watching. Hope you're enjoying the shrimp project, the Aquasolum shrimp project, and I'll see you in the next Fincast.